Warning, incoming game over. Warning, incoming game over.
Whoa. Lost my voice heading into the intro. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. The Vancouver Canucks lost 4-2 at home. Shocker, the Vancouver Canucks lost a home game. The Vancouver Canucks lost 4-2 to the Tampa Bay Lightning on a 1 p.m. game start. But before we get into all of that, I realized I do not have the thing ready. Give me 1 second. Okay. Before we get into talking about the game, check out the flagship show of the Game Over Network on the Game Over Network YouTube channel. Hyperdrive Hockey, all things hockey, across various leagues in multiple countries, whatever it is and wherever it is. Max, Daphne, and Kev have you covered for all your hockey news with a steady dose of fun and fan engagement. You can find Hyperdrive Hockey on the Game Over Network YouTube channel or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, and also on the Hyperdrive Hockey page at thegameovernetwork.com. Alright, so the Vancouver Canucks, obviously didn't watch my show on Friday, because if they did, then they would know that they have to play for longer than what feels like half the periods. Because the first, I understand Quinn Hughes goes down, he gets the stick to the face from Brendan Hagel, and it doesn't look good. Like, it looks pretty nasty. He's bleeding quite a bit. I mean, he got hit in the nose, which I feel like that makes sense for it to bleed, and he's gone for 13 minutes. But in the ensuing power play that the Canucks get, 4 minutes, because blood, ice, high stick. That's how that works. He had one shot. They had one shot on the power play. I understand you're missing like the most important player on your entire team, but that doesn't, like, you can't just be one. Your team isn't just one guy. It's a team. It's not an individual sport. It's a team. So even though Quinn Hughes is out, and yeah, there was a bit of blood, he came back eventually, but even though he's out, they still need to, like, I don't care on the power play, care that, like, you're playing this game, care that there's points at stake. I understand it's not the same as if you're playing like a Calgary or Edmonton at home. At the same time, you still kind of want to get a better win on home ice. And this is still when the game is scoreless. I haven't even gotten into the rest of the game yet, but that first period, just that you have 4 minutes on the power play and you do absolutely nothing with it. Like, that should be ringing so many alarm bells at the time. Anyway, Quinn Hughes does come back. He has the bubble on his helmet, and because obviously he got injured in the face. Upper body injury, because that's what that is. And so he takes the bubble, and he also takes the first goal of the game. The Canucks scored first for the first time in what feels like forever. It's probably not forever. I'm just really bad at math. But they score first in the game, which does not happen a lot. And who else but Quinn Hughes, obviously, with the bubble. Bubble Quinn, he's a different level. I just think of that one picture where it's like Pedersen in the foreground, and then in the back you see Quinn with the bubble on. I can't remember what game this was, but they were away, and Quinn's just staring at the cat. You probably know what photo I'm talking about. But yeah, Quinn gets the Canucks on the board. 1-0. Vibes are good. Second period, they forgot how to play hockey. Tampa Bay, and this isn't as bad as, well, it's not as bad as Columbus the other night when they were down 17-2 in shots after the first. They had a good start It's just that they forgot how to play hockey in the back half. So they're evolving. They haven't evolved much, but they moved a little bit forward. You know, like they tried, was not successful, but they did it. I'm not even gonna say they did a good job. Nikita Kucherov, basically no one's defending him. It was even strength, but no one's defending him. And yeah, even strength, no one's around him. They just let Nikita Kucherov, and sure, he's just coming back from injury, but he's still Nikita Kucherov. Like, heart winner, like, he's, you know, him. Like, Art Ross, and like, you just left him open. It's like the whole trend of how teams, whenever Ovechkin scores from his office, people are just like, oh, how could you leave him open? It's the same thing with a lot of these high scoring players. Kucherov. Who. Why do you do this to me, Vancouver? Why do you do this to me? And then Braden Point gets a power play goal, and the Lightning are leading, and the Canucks really don't do anything to gain back that momentum throughout the second. Um, yeah. The third starts. Not a lot goes on until Kiefer Sherwood from a feed from Tyler Myers and Atu Ratu. But yeah, Myers to Sherwood. They get it. It's 2-2. And we're all sitting back. It's in the last 5 minutes of the period. And we're all like, okay, okay. This is gonna be fine. This is fine. This is how, like, so one of, like, we're probably, like, it's looking to be overtime. And I'm like, cool, chill. So, the Canucks don't know how to do math. And I've said it before on the show. I've said it before just generally in my life before. And I will say it once again. Maybe we shouldn't be pulling like 14-year-olds out of math class to go to hockey practice. Because it's really useful when if they make the NHL, because how do you not know how to count to six? Like it was a running joke when I was in band that all the band kids, they can only count to four because a lot of music is in 4/4 time signature. So 1, 2, 3, 4, as in the beats. They can only count for those four because then they move on to the next bar. They don't have that in hockey. So yeah, I don't know. Myers and Susie, a miscommunication between Myers and Susie? I'm shocked. Oh my goodness, that has never happened in life before. Yeah. I'm not sure why that whole thing happened. Myers, maybe he forgot that he was wanting to stay on the ice. Susie maybe didn't realize that Myers wasn't all. I don't know. Was Myers. Maybe Susie thought Myers was climbing over the boards, but because he's so tall, that just. It's just him just taking a stride. I don't know. I have no explanation. I'm not in their heads. If I was, then the Canucks wouldn't have lost. That I'm kidding. No, it's true. I'm gonna ratatouille Carson Soucy next game so that he gets a hat trick against St. Louis. That doesn't well conference. But yeah, so it's a too many men call that dooms the Canucks here. It's a too many men call. I I know the Canucks have only taken 2 of those this season. I know that because I looked it up. They've only taken 2. Nashville's leading with 7 bench minors, I believe. And most of those are too many men, I can assume, because I know one of them was they had an incorrect score sheet, and that was against Seattle. Um, but yeah, a too many men call. is the death of the Canucks on home ice tonight, which I feel like is just so fitting. I feel like it happens so much, and yeah, I don't know if Talkett can stop Niels Höglander from going on the ice and doing his job that every time that he wants to go up and do it, then maybe he should pay attention to his defenseman. But then again, he's a grown man. Like, he's a grown man. It's not. Hockey players are grown men. They're not gonna listen. I don't know how to explain it. Again, they've only taken two penalties, too many men penalties. But this one stings because the puck goes off of Jake Gensel's glove first, and it was headed towards the net. Now, if that had gone in, then it's no goal, because technically it went off his hand and he moved his hand towards the net, so that means it wouldn't count. But Noah Juleson, who has his moments of good, he has some good moments on the penalty kill, blocking shots. There was the 2-on-1 with Kucherov and Gensel, I believe, earlier on in the first. This was not one of the good moments. Gensel is, after he hits the puck he's towards the net with his hand. Noah Juleson takes his stick, bats the puck back onto Jake Gensel's chest, and that's how the puck goes in. So it counts, because it didn't go off his hand. I understand hockey is a very fast-paced game. I understand he probably was just thinking he was trying his best to clear the puck. You know, he's behind Lankinen at this point. It's just so frustrating, because it was a dumb penalty to take in the first place, and then it's even worse when that's how the goal happens, to not only give the Lightning the lead, but it ends up being the game winner. It's just, yeah. I understand it's a very fast-paced game. There's a lot going on. It's just one of those moments where you're like, okay, maybe things go differently if that doesn't happen, but you know what? It's in the past. We can't change anything. I can't change anything either, because I don't play professional hockey. They do. Well, they try. They don't always succeed. And then Braden Point gets the empty netter for Tampa, and that basically seals the victory for them. And yeah, the power play had nothing. They didn't show up for the double minor. Yeah, the Lightning power play, which is a pretty good power play. They're notorious for being very decent. They went 50%. So that one of those was the Jake Gensel pass goal. That one of those was that Jake Gensel goal. And I don't know. It's hard, because, like, I know the penalty kill has had better nights, and they're overall doing better than they have in the past. At the same time, the power play, like, it's either clicking together like Lego, or it's completely broken apart like Lego. Brain didn't work there. 0 for 3 on the power play. There was some confusion. Not confusion. There was a lot of people didn't like how the refs officiated tonight. Canucks fans didn't like it. Tampa definitely didn't like it, but they're Tampa. And I mean, I would think the Canucks didn't like it, but I think they're too busy learning how to count to 6. So yeah, there were a lot of instances where calls weren't made. There were a lot of instances where calls were made, but it was like hit or miss if that is really a callable offense. And I'm not saying that officiating is the reason we lost the game. It's not. It's the abysmal work on the power play, on just in general getting any sort of offense generated aside from like the best chance in the second was a Max Sasson breakaway. No disrespect intended to Max Sasson here, but if that's your best shot in an entire 20 minutes of play, when you do have a power play, you have a power play because Connor Geekie got called for cross-checking against Quinn Hughes. If your one good shot is from a breakaway from a guy who's played what 4 5 NHL games, yeah, it's a Cinderella story if you win and if he scores, but if that's your best scoring chance when you have so many other supposedly offensively minded players, like forwards and defense included, where's that showing? Where is that showing? Because it's not showing on the score sheet. They had more shots on net than they did. They had eight more shots on net than they did against Columbus. At the same time, I don't know. They had 28 hits to Tampa's 9. I'm sure probably 15 of those are Kiefer Sherwood alone. And yeah, it's just like, what are you doing? It's like they don't want to be there. I don't know if some of them have tickets to Eras tonight or whatever. But it's odd. It's Tampa. They're a very good team. It's a home game. Canucks are shoddy at home. And I don't know. It doesn't They're showing some promise some games, and then some games it just turns on its head. Sorry. Apologies. Um, this was one of the games where it's just like, are we a contender or are we just kind of having fun here? Yeah. Anyway, before we get into our little second segment here, I'm going to talk a little bit more about lineup decisions and how that factors in for the rest of the homestand. Game Over Network is an independent production focused on community, inclusion, and quality people. Ooh. If you're interested in supporting the Game Over Network, we have crowdfunding options available. In the description of this episode, you'll find a link to our Patreon page, and we're also working on a page through LaRouche, a crowdfunding platform for companies originating in Quebec. For LaRouche, we're aiming to raise $15,000, and if we hit that goal, we'll gain access to government grants that will allow us to employ more people. If you have any ideas for what you'd like to see as giveaways from these crowdfunding efforts, let us know in the comments on Twitter, Instagram, or our Discord server. Alrighty, so, some of us thought that Demko was going to be playing, and that was what a lot of people were reporting, that Demko will be playing today, and he backed up, for Kevin Lankinen in net, and I'm not saying if Demko's in net, then we win. Kevin Lankinen was the second star of the game. Braden Point had 4 points. And Nikita Kucherov had 3, and then Kevin Lankinen is just in the middle of the two of them. Anyway, I blame the score. Fair. Yeah, that's the score. Oh, the score of the media company, not the score of the game. I'm running on 3 hours of sleep, so please bear with me. Yeah, I'm not saying that Thatcher Demko, if he was in, then we would have won. But I also think it probably wouldn't be the best game for him to come in. So when it was announced that, like, when some people were saying, like, oh yeah, Demko's starting tomorrow, this was yesterday, I'm like, sitting there, I'm like, this is a terrible idea because it's a 1 p.m. game. It was mentioned on the broadcast because Shorthouse was just like, oh yeah, John Garrett would be like, no, because goalies are very. I mean, a lot of players are set in their routines. Goalies, I feel like especially have so much of the mental aspect in their games. So to bring him in on a 1 p.m. game on a random Sunday in December. Also, it's his birthday today. Don't make him play on his birthday. He did get a win on his birthday in 2021, but also that was the Bruce There It Is era, so that was a long time ago. Um, that was like 5 Demko injuries ago at this point. I think yeah, I think he should play on Tuesday against the Blues. That's the way I'm leaning with this, because obviously you can't keep playing Lankinen forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Um, and Shelov's obviously, they sent him back down to Abbotsford, which I think is good for his development, because obviously there were some issues when he started playing this season. Um, so there were some issues when he started playing this season about long shots, etc. And getting some more time in the AHL is likely good for his development because I've said this before. He's like what, 23? That's like 5 in goalie years. So he's still very young. He still has a lot to work through for his own play, and getting to work on that a bit more at the AHL level I think will be beneficial in the long term, especially because Kevin Lankinen likely prices himself out for the Canucks next season, so as she loves as a backup. I mean, hopefully it works out. Anyway, yeah, when it was announced Demko might be starting today, I was just like, why would you do that? Why would you make him come back to work after like 6 months on his birthday? That's just mean. So thankfully the Canucks didn't do that. Um, Kevin Lankinen started for like the 50th time in a row this season. This is game 26. Um, yeah, I feel like Demko is starting. I feel like he's gonna start on Tuesday against the Blues because it's also the Blues. It's not like it's. Tampa's a very fast-paced team. So is Florida, which is coming up on Thursday, and then there's Boston, which is Boston. I mean, Lankinen also did get a shout out. I could see Demko playing the Boston game, but I feel like they want to get him in another game before that game. So I could definitely see um him playing on Tuesday for the Blues. The only Canucks scratch they had was Mark Friedman. Do we think, chat, hear me out. Do we think Mark Friedman comes in for I don't know. It's got to be Desharnais or Juleson that comes out, because I know Juleson has kind of played himself into Desharnais' spot, but I don't know how much they're gonna value the wonderful tip-in he made, or the wonderful pass he made to Jake Gensel's chest for that 3-2 game-winning goal for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Does Mark Friedman come in? Could happen. Do they call up more AHL folk? Maybe. I'm not sure if Linus Karlsson is on the radar for call-ups, but he had 2 goals last night for Abbotsford. I believe Jonathan Lekharemeki also scored last night for Abbotsford, and he has played NHL time recently, and it's not like we're struggling on the forward side of things. We kind of are. We don't know how to score goals, it turns out, but I think on the defensive end, I can't really think of anyone that we'd call up because when you call somebody up that's not on like an entry level or like a two-way, like waivers becomes an issue, and I don't think they want to lose like Christian Lannon or something um on waivers. Yeah, I don't think they want to lose Christian Lannon to waivers because he's probably one of the probably the best defenseman or one of the best for Abbotsford this year. So, I mean, he's been pretty good the last couple years for them. Yeah. Kirill Kudrav. We drafted him in the 7th round of 2022. Um, he's 11 points in 19 games. I don't know if he comes up. I don't think he does, because that's a child, but, yeah, 2004. Wow. Yeah, I don't know if he comes up. I can't really see anybody else that they would try and call up. I'm not sure if Cole McWard is waivers exempt anymore, but I don't know if that's going to be helping us either. I think we just have to play through it, through the Hronek injury, and hope for the best. Who knows what happens in the next couple days? Maybe somebody gets, I don't know, laryngitis from the Eras tour. Maybe that happens. I don't know. Does laryngitis happen like that? I'm not a doctor. Don't ask me. um, yeah, because I'm not sure that completely breaking up the decor is the solution here, but I could see them bringing Friedman in. I'm just not sure who is taken out on Tuesday. Or just Friedman at some point this homestand, because they still have 4 more games. They have St. Louis, Florida, Boston. Who's the last one I'm playing? The Avalanche. Yeah. So they should probably bring Friedman in just to mix it up a little bit. And I think Demko starts against the Blues. That's my prediction. Will the Canucks win that game? It's on home ice. Probably not. Anyway, before we get into talking a bit more about just general Vancouver things, Game Over has you covered after the game, but in order to get ready to watch the Canucks, you've got to get your game on too. Or just getting ready to watch hockey, you got to get your game on too. Game On Hockey is a short form daily news podcast covering everything you need to know across the NHL and PWHL and adjacent leagues. Get all your hockey news in under 10 minutes Monday through Friday on the Game Over Network YouTube channel and in podcast form, which you can find at thegameovernetwork.com. All right, so Vancouver this week. I have a proposal. So if you haven't heard, then wow, I'm impressed. The Eras Tour, Taylor Swift's mega global tour that has gone on for 2 years, which I feel like tours should have a time limit. Anyway, none of my business. Taylor Swift's Eras Tour has 3 shows, and that's it. They have 3 shows to end the 2-year-long tour, and they're all in Vancouver at BC Place, which is next door to Rogers Arena. So I'm putting a question for the chat here. Who do you think of the Canucks? And maybe some of them went to other cities because Taylor Swift went to literally everywhere in the world except for Vancouver before stopping in Vancouver. Who on the Canucks would go to see Taylor Swift? The Canucks did post a video a couple days ago, which was asking the players who's the biggest Swiftie, on the Canucks. And a lot of people said Niels Höglander. I see it. I'm wondering if he is able to go to a show, because I hope he is. Because there's just a lot. I feel like that's his vibe. And you know what? Maybe that will fix him. And so Talkit finally starts to like him, or he gets traded and gets a better opportunity outside of Vancouver, because obviously he doesn't fit into Talkit's system. If you don't fit into Talkit's system, then you're absolutely, completely, horribly wrong. Oh, what? You can count to 6? Oh, blasphemy. Get in the box. Serve the bench. I have a lot of thoughts. But yes, I want to throw it to the chat and ask, who do you think from the Canucks would go to the Eras Tour? And they still have time. I know the Canucks played at the exact same time as the concert the other night. Like, Gracie Abrams, the opener for Taylor, went on at 6:45. The Canucks started at 7. So, great planning there. Last night they didn't play. It was Eras night too, and tonight is the last night. And I mean, they're right next door, so they don't really have to do much, but I could see it happening. It would be funny if this was like their U2 moment. Like, if you don't know the story, Nashville was supposed to see U2 at the Sphere last year, and then they lost really badly against Vegas. And so their coach was just like, no, we're not seeing U2. And then they went on an insane, like, win streak, point streak. Maybe Talkit's saying no Eras Tour for you. And they can go watch it from outside BC Place, because a lot of people are doing that. Basically ensuring nobody can get out of Vancouver. Yeah, it was already pretty hectic trying to get into Vancouver. I didn't go into Vancouver, I just drove past it, but going down the highway and then all the cars coming back this way around the Hastings exit, I was like, I've never seen it this busy on a Sunday at like 1 p.m. Like, it was packed. And like, the groups of people, it's so funny. I wonder if anybody did the double header where they got tickets for the Canucks game and then went to go see Taylor Swift, because if they did and they were like just touristy things, oh yeah, let's go see a hockey game. If this was the game that they saw the Canucks play, I feel so bad for them. Because I don't know who was on the ice tonight, but that was not the Vancouver Canucks. Um yeah, basically nobody can get out of Vancouver. I saw the crowd of people. I saw a picture of all the people that are standing outside BC Place, and wow, wow. Like, you're just standing outside. The roof isn't even open, so it's not like you can hear stuff too. And I'm not judging. I'm not judging. Like, I'm a Taylor Swift fan. I'm not a Swiftie, but I am a fan of Taylor Swift. It's kind of like, are you a trumpet player or are you someone who plays trumpet? It's that sort of thing. Um, yeah, and I still am like, yeah, no, thank you. I remember when she played the 1989 tour here, and it was at BC Place, and I was downtown that day, and they were doing a sound check, and the roof was open because it was the summer, and you could hear that. But like, I'm like, how are you hearing it from outside? And I saw videos, like, it's like, okay, now I can see it. Well, I can hear it, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's also cold. Um, but yeah, and then they're like running extra buses and trains and stuff, and they're talking last night, or yeah, they were talking the last game about how Columbus had to fly directly to Winnipeg because there's no hotel rooms for them. And there's a whole other issue of Vancouver having a hotel shortage, and I talked a bit about that last time, but yeah, it's an interesting time. Everything is Taylor Swift themed. They keep making Taylor Swift references on like the Canucks Twitter and like on the radio, and then in the arena. They're having Swift, like only Taylor Swift songs, and I'm like, okay, it's a little much. As someone who likes Taylor Swift, it's a bit much. Um, like I appreciate that they're doing all this because I think it is pretty cool. Um, but at the same time, we could probably chill, but chill out a little bit. Last Friday Pacific time was almost certainly a madhouse around Rogers Arena. Given, yeah, the lineups for Stadium Chinatown, the SkyTrain station that's right there, looked absolutely crazy. Because I've gone to some games. I've gone to. I remember going to a Whitecaps game and then leaving the train, and Shawn Mendes was playing at Rogers Arena. And the concert, Shawn Mendes' concert wasn't over, but it was, or I think it was just getting out, and it was just so, it was so packed on the train. It was just like everyone squishing in to get out of Vancouver. It was not a fun time. So seeing all the people lined up for the train, I felt so bad. And obviously, because it's BC Place, they have very strict bag restrictions. If you haven't been to BC Place, make sure to check the bag restrictions because I literally have a separate bag that I just bring for BC Place events, and um, yeah, they're very strict about that kind of stuff. So you can't bring umbrellas, and it's Vancouver, it's gonna rain, so a lot of people in ponchos. I hope everyone's safe. Yeah, it's you know what? If that's your vibe, that's your vibe. I am afraid of large groups of people, so that's not my vibe. But you know what? You do you, bestie. Anyway, hockey. Um, before we get into, I guess, the chat Q&A part, but that's somewhat already happened. Went on a whole thing about Taylor Swift. Um, what better way to support something you love than by rocking it as clothing? Game Over's apparel line has dropped with 3 unique designs. Whether you feel the nostalgic pull of our retro skater design, want to make a statement with our established design, want to wear your love for goalies proudly with our live and die by the goalie design, or if you just need another coffee to get through the winter, we have you covered. Designed by Brady Chalice from Game Over Winnipeg, use the QR code on stream now to take a look through our apparel store and help us rebuild local sports media in Canada while repping your community. Using the code GOHOLIDAYS, that's G-O Holidays, we're offering 15% off on all winter products, hoodies, and the beanie. This will be active until December 25th, with a different sale dropping on Boxing Day. So that's G-O Holidays, Go Holidays, woo! 15% off hoodies and the beanie until December 25th. All right. Chat Q&A. Let's talk random things. Andrew tweeted this earlier, a couple days ago before the show on Friday, but my car died, so I'm driving a minivan right now, and I passed a Cybertruck on the highway, and it was exhilarating because the minivan is older than half the children in my family. So, well, not even children, they're all teenagers, but whatever. I'm old. Um, yeah. Anyway, also, has anybody seen the Taylor Swift transit stuff? I haven't. But I don't know. I noticed that Drive BC, I have Twitter notifications on for them. They were using Taylor Swift lyrics talking about traffic this weekend, and you know what? I hope they're having fun with it. And then border wait times. I drove past the sign that displays them, and the 2 furthest ones from Vancouver, which are Sumas, which is in Abbotsford, and then Aldergrove, which is like Abbotsford Langley. They were both at 50 minutes, 50. Usually it's like 5. Like those are the ones you go to when it's like a 30-minute wait at like Peace Arch or something. Both Peace Arch and Pacific Crossing, which are both in Surrey. Peace Arch is like right near White Rock, and then Pacific Crossing is a little bit further, but still kind of right there. They were both past 2 hours. So I hope that everyone is they have enough movies downloaded on their devices. I hope everyone has charges. I hope that was a good wait time because that's a lot. That's a Seattle had 2 shows. Seattle had 2 shows last summer. But you're coming up here? Bestie. I did see a lot of different license plates though. I saw there's an Oregon. I saw an Oregon. I saw a few Washington plates, so they're probably headed to go wait 3 hours at the border. And I saw Utah. Utah is like one of my favorite license plates. Um, because it's like the two rocks. It's not like a normal, quote unquote normal license plate where it's like white and then it has like some kind of design with like the letters, like the whole thing is like a pattern. It's somewhat like the beautiful British Columbia, except beautiful British Columbia, the BC Parks license plates that you can get here in BC, but instead it's Utah, and it's an illustration, it's not a picture. I just think it's really cool, and yeah, I don't know. If anyone has any thoughts about the Utah license plate, or just any state license plates, let me know. None of it has my favorite one in Canada because it's shaped like a polar bear. Alright, I think that's it for tonight because I am talking about license plates, and the Vancouver Canucks were the team that I started talking about. But it's just so much of the same. They don't know how to play on home ice. I don't know if they need to tape a different name to Rogers Arena and everything around it. Maybe it's the black skate jerseys. You know what? I'm gonna blame the skate. That's it. That's what it is. That's what caused me to talk about um license plates for 15 minutes. Okay. Well, the Vancouver Canucks lost 4-2 to the Tampa Bay Lightning on home ice, thanks to not knowing how to count to 6. Game Over Vancouver will be back on Tuesday night, the 10th, after the Canucks face the Blues. Hopefully with that Sherdemko net, we will see. But thank you so much for joining me. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. And we'll see you again Tuesday after the final buzzer. Bye!